In the previous section, we discussed the legal requirement for disclosure of relationships between real estate brokerages, licensees, and escrow companies. That conversation highlighted the importance of transparency and consumer protection, ensuring that buyers and sellers can make informed decisions about the professionals who help them complete their transactions. This final section of the module builds upon that foundation by distinguishing between escrow companies and title insurance companies, two closely related yet distinct entities that perform essential roles in every Arizona real estate transaction. Although escrow and title insurance companies often work together, and in many cases operate under the same corporate umbrella, they serve different functions. Both are integral to ensuring a smooth, secure, and lawful transfer of property ownership, but understanding their individual responsibilities is crucial for licensees who must explain each role to clients and ensure compliance with Arizona law. The role of the escrow company. An escrow company functions as a neutral third party that safeguards the transaction's funds and documents until all terms of the purchase contract are fulfilled. Escrow officers receive earnest money deposits, verify contractual performance, coordinate communications between all parties, calculate prorations, prepare the settlement statement, and disperse funds only after all conditions have been satisfied. As discussed earlier in this module, escrow officers operate under the fiduciary duty of neutrality, acting on behalf of both buyer and seller without preference or partiality. Escrow companies are licensed and regulated by the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions, AZDF-AO under ARS, paragraph 6, 841 at SEQ. They are responsible for ensuring that funds are held securely in trust accounts and that no funds or documents are released prematurely. Escrow companies must follow precise written instructions from the parties and maintain complete transaction records for auditing and legal compliance. Their work culminates in the closing process, where all funds are dispersed, documents are signed and verified, and the property deed is recorded with the county recorder's office to complete the transfer of ownership. To illustrate, in a typical Arizona residential transaction, the escrow company receives the buyer's earnest money, verifies loan funding from the lender, ensures all liens and encumbrances have been paid, and then records the deed and deed of trust. Once recordation is confirmed, the escrow officer releases the funds to the seller and other payees, completing the transaction. The role of the title insurance company. While the escrow company manages the transactional process, the title insurance company ensures that the property's ownership and legal history are clear of defects or claims that could jeopardize the buyer's rights. Before the sale closes, the title company conducts a title search to examine public records, identifying any liens, easements, encumbrances, or ownership disputes that may affect the property. This investigation results in a preliminary title report or commitment for title insurance, which is reviewed by both the buyer and the lender before closing. Once the property closes and the deed is recorded, the title company issues one or more title insurance policies. The owner's policy protects the buyer's ownership interest against undiscovered title defects, while the lender's policy protects the lender's security interest in the property. Title insurance is unique because it provides protection against past events, such as forged deeds, recording errors, or undisclosed heirs, rather than future occurrences. Title insurance companies are licensed and regulated by the Arizona Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, DIFI. They must comply with ARS, paragraph 20, 1561 et SEQ, which governs title insurance operations, premium rates, and the duties of underwriters and agents, while escrow companies handle the transfer of funds and closing logistics. Title insurance companies handle the research, risk assessment, and issuance of title policies that ensure ownership security. How escrow and title companies work together. Although distinct in purpose, escrow and title insurance companies collaborate closely throughout the transaction. In most Arizona transactions, they operate jointly under the same corporate structure. An arrangement permitted as long as both divisions maintain separate licensing and proper disclosures are made to all parties. For example, a company might offer both escrow and title services under a single brand name, allowing for convenience and efficiency, provided that the relationship and any shared ownership are disclosed per RESPE Section 8C4. The workflow typically begins when the buyer and seller select a title and escrow company during contract negotiation. The title division begins researching the property's history, while the escrow division collects funds and documents. Throughout the process, the two divisions share verified information about payoffs, liens, legal descriptions, and ownership details to ensure accuracy. At closing, the escrow division disperses funds and records the deed, while the title division issues the final insurance policies. Key differences between escrow and title companies. The essential distinction lies in their respective duties and risk focus. Escrow companies manage the logistics, documentation, and funds required to close the transaction. Their responsibility ends once closing is complete and funds are dispersed. Title insurance companies assess ownership risks and provide legal protection through insurance policies that remain in effect after the closing. To summarize, the escrow company ensures that the transaction process is carried out correctly and securely. The title company ensures that the ownership rights resulting from that transaction are valid and protected against potential legal claims. Case law and legal precedent. Arizona courts have long recognized these distinct yet complementary roles. In Burcons v. Ticor Title, Insurance Coast of California, 1991, the Arizona Supreme Court distinguished between escrow and title functions within the same company, affirming that while escrow officers must act as fiduciaries and follow written instructions precisely, title insurance companies assume a contractual obligation to indemnify insured parties against losses due to title defects. Similarly, in Tucson, Title Insurance Como de Ascali, 1961, the court reiterated that escrow officers act as trustees, while title insurers operate as indemnitors. Both cases reinforce the dual yet separate responsibilities of escrow and title professionals in Arizona real estate practice. Discussion: how do escrow companies and title insurance companies differ in their primary functions? Answer: escrow companies manage the transfer of funds and documents during the transaction, while title insurance companies research and insure the property's ownership rights against title defects. Why must licensees understand the distinction between escrow and title companies? Answer: because clear understanding allows licensees to explain the roles of each entity to clients, ensure proper disclosures, and facilitate transparent, compliant transactions. When do title insurance companies issue their policies? And what do those policies protect? Answer: title insurance policies are issued after closing and recordation, protecting the buyer and lender from undiscovered defects in the property's title. Review summary: escrow companies and title insurance companies perform separate but equally vital roles in Arizona real estate transactions. The escrow company acts as a neutral fiduciary that manages the flow of funds, documentation, and compliance during the transaction, ensuring that all contractual terms are fulfilled before closing. The title insurance company, on the other hand, investigates the property's ownership history, identifies any defects or encumbrances, and issues insurance policies that protect the buyer's and lender's interests against past title issues. Both entities are heavily regulated. Escrow companies by the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions, AZDFI, and title insurance companies by the Arizona Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, DIFI. Together, they safeguard the financial and legal integrity of the transaction from contract to closing and beyond. Understanding the distinction between these two services is essential for real estate licensees, as it ensures transparency, compliance, and the protection of all parties involved in the sale.